Hey, welcome back. This is going to be a basic introductory and general understanding of everything concerning the hub and the UI. If you're looking for anything specific, then be sure to check out the timestamps in the description. Let's get to it. When you first open up the game, there's going to be some downloads. You'll go through a few opening cinematics. You'll choose your name. You can skip the tutorials or go through them. Either way, we're going to cover pretty much everything here. Let's go ahead and check out Realm Dungeons. This is going to show all of the dungeons that we have unlocked so far. Now here we don't see what dungeons we have coming up, but if we want to check that out, we can go ahead and click on this icon up here. Here we can see a sequential order of the dungeons coming up next. After we beat this one, we'll unlock these, and then if we beat this one, it'll unlock this one, so on and so forth. There's also an elite version of each dungeon. These are harder difficulties with greater rewards, and these branch out much the same way. We can actually see what characters will unlock during this sequence, depending on which paths we take, and it goes on for quite a bit. You can get more detailed information of each dungeon by clicking on it here and entering the dungeon itself. We can check out the rewards, the completion reward, the mastery reward, which means getting the highest possible score, and the first time reward, which just basically means the first time we complete whatever dungeon it is. You can click on boss here to get a better understanding of what the target score is. Here it just states defeat the airbuster without being KO'd. If you can meet this requirement, that pretty much guarantees that you will meet the requirement of getting the mastery reward. You can look up here, this is going to cost 3 stamina, and it's a difficulty of 1, so the easiest difficulty you can have. And the prologue here just gives you a description of the story of what's happening in the painting. Stamina recovers over time. Currently we have 31 maximum. You can actually exceed the maximum by using stamina potions or getting more stamina shards. A lot of these dungeons will reward stamina shards. If you look here, whenever we accumulate 5 shards, our maximum stamina will go up, which will also refresh our current stamina. Next thing we'll check out are the event dungeons. Mostly all of these are for a limited time. We can't access all of them just yet. They are locked. If you click on them, it will tell you what you need to complete in order to unlock it. The one I'm mostly concerned about here is the Newcomers Dungeons. We automatically have access to these. 3 different areas to choose from. Just like regular dungeons, they have an elite version as well. You can click on them for more information as far as the rewards go and the target score. Do note that below each boss target score, there is a strategy for each of them that gives you a breakdown of what their movesets are and how to deal with it. I highly recommend doing these and the Realm Dungeons for unlocking characters, getting items, and completing missions. Next thing we'll take a look at is the power-up dungeons. Once these are unlocked, you'll have the ability to accumulate vast quantities of orbs and crystals. There's even an experience dungeon you can use down here for leveling up, right here. There's a guild dungeon, which is one of the basic currencies in the game used for everything from upgrading equipment, etc., etc. And there are also equipment upgrade materials, also used for upgrades. Again, if you want to know how to unlock these, just go ahead and click on it and it tells you what you need to do. Most of these are gated behind missions, and I'll get into that later. As far as these little mini hubs are concerned, those are the only ones that we have access to just yet. We also have the record dungeons, and again, by clicking on these, it tells us how to unlock them, which are mostly gated by the missions. We're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the UI. We have our Mythril, our Gil, our current stamina. We can check out the shop here. This is where you spend real money on the premium currency gems to buy certain items. I don't recommend going here. There are much better options for your money. Let's go ahead and check out the menu. This is all pretty self-explanatory. We have the help options, which gives descriptions on pretty much everything in the game. You can actually unlock music in the game from all the different Final Fantasy titles and select them here. We have our friends list. The main thing I wanted to show you here was your profile. Here you have your roaming warrior, and how this works is anyone can choose the character you've selected as your roaming warrior and use them in their dungeon. And anytime you do that, you get Gysahl Greens, which is another currency for exchange. If you want to change your roaming warrior, just click here. It gives you a brief description of what they're capable of. You can change the soul breaks, change their weapon, armor, and accessories. If you want to change the character specifically, it will list all the characters we have access to. If you do have any friends that play, you can share your friend ID. You can find your friends using their ID here. Any friends that you do have will pop up here, and they will also pop up as roaming warriors whenever you go into certain dungeons. Anyone who is following you, you will pop up in their dungeons. So that's how that works. Here we have the party. There's different ways to do this. You can click on outfitting here to give you a list of menus of what you can do, or you can just click on them individually, which is what I prefer to do. Here you can bring up their equipment, abilities, soul breaks that you've unlocked for them, and any record materia or legend materia they may have. If you've played a lot of the older Final Fantasies, they have a formation system. With each party, you can set them to the front row or back row. Physical attackers tend to be up on front, where magical users are in the back row. You can change this by clicking on formation. If you want to change characters, you can actually click on the empty slot here or click on one of the character portraits. Here it will list any characters that we've unlocked. Here we can even change their formation. We even have a filter in case we're looking for a specific character. We can go by series. We can see all the different Final Fantasy realms that we can choose from. If they have certain elemental soul breaks, attack, you get it. We can actually remove all of the gear and abilities, materia that we have set just by clicking remove all. There's even some filters that we can use. Optimized much the same way, except it actually equips all your characters. Again, there's some filters that we can use. I wouldn't really rely on these too much. Optimize will be fine at first, but later on when you're trying to optimize certain elements or realms, you might want to stay away from optimize. Here we can list all of the stats for each character. Nice little reference point. Down here we have our Magicite decks and our Historia crystals. I'll get into this later in a different video. The battle settings. This is mostly for auto battle, whereas your characters will automatically use their abilities, use their soul breaks, etc. We've got the battle speed, pretty self-explanatory. The animation speed, again, self-explanatory. Skip settings. In the middle of a fight, you may not want to use a certain ability just yet, so you'll want to skip that character's turn. This controls who it skips to, whoever is next in the ATB order or party order. The auto battle settings, do you want auto to be on at battle start? Do you want them to use abilities while they're autoing? Do you want them to use soul breaks while they're autoing? Do note here, the ability or soul break in the left slot takes priority. If it is set to auto, the character will use the leftmost ability or soul break, depending on what is turned on here. Limit breaks are fairly new to Final Fantasy Record Keeper. This is unlike the soul break gauge, which is specific to each character. The limit break gauge is shared across the entire party. And here, this is mostly for if it is automatic, when do you want to use the limit break, at 1 bar, 2 bars, or 3 bars. In battle soul break page setting, turn on to remember the last select soul break page open for each hero during the battle. If you want to check out what that is, you can actually mess with these settings while you're in battle. Enemy HP % display setting. I like doing this just because I know how much HP the boss has or whoever I'm fighting as a %, and it helps me know where I'm progressing at, what I need to work on, etc. Sleep mode during battle. Do you want the phone to sleep while you're playing? Alright, the favorite menu down here is going to play a big part later on in the game. Can't actually do anything about it right now, but you basically save presets of different parties that may have a certain synergy, such as element or realm, that you want to save. So basically you can instantly change to different party compositions. Now once you get to the point of trying to mid-max every character, you can actually long-click them here, and it'll bring up everything about this character. We have Magia, Crystal Water Points, Sphere Skills, the equipment they have currently. It shows all of their soul breaks, even the ones you haven't unlocked yet. You can see here the only one we currently have is Judgment Grimoire. You can long press any of these other ones to get another description of what they are, what they do. And some of these can even be exchanged with anima lenses, and I'll get into that here in just a little bit. Materia is something else that you can unlock for each character. These two icons means that you can get them through the sphere skills. These are anima lenses. If just like soul breaks, if there is no icon, then you have to obtain them through relic draws. If we click on usable, it'll tell us what they can equip as far as equipment goes and abilities. Here it shows us what Tyro can equip as far as equipment goes and what abilities he can use. Aside from this menu, we can click on Hero Upgrades, and this will give us other options for min-maxing Tyro specifically. And don't worry, I will cover everything pertaining to all of these other different menus, but this is just a beginner guide. We're just going to cover everything in a generalized understanding. Let's go ahead and go to Upgrades and Inventory. Another plethora of options here. Most of them are locked or on the offset, but we're not going to worry about that too much. I will cover this in a later video. But basically, these are the same min-maxing options we had for each character in the party screen. Up here we have the announcements. The first time you log in every day, it'll show you all the new announcements. You'll be able to come here and check on them later again if you want to. Events and campaigns, game updates, and miscellaneous. Item chest. Every day you log in, you'll be welcomed with bonuses. They're just going to send you a bunch of items, and this is where they'll go. You'll be able to collect them all and go on about your day. Very simple. Here we have the item exchanges. There's several different currencies here, but we're going to go through each one of them so we get a better understanding. Earlier I was talking about soul breaks, where you can actually exchange these anima lenses for soul breaks, legend materia, etc. You can see the anima lenses here. You can obtain these by doing dungeons, realms, events, missions, several ways. You'll just accumulate these from playing the game. Definitely a good stop if you're trying to kit out a character. Here we have the Warrior of Light. You can see we've got all different kinds of gear we can choose from and the anima lens requirement. Each of these pieces of gear has a soul break or materia attached to them. Do note that whenever you obtain a piece of gear, you will get the soul break attached to it. You cannot lose the soul break. Even if you sold this piece of gear, you will always have this soul break for whatever character you've got it for. On top of that, the Warrior of Light here isn't the only one that can equip this piece of equipment. Anyone can equip it. It's just this soul break is specific to Warrior of Light. Over here in Item Exchange, we can spend our anima lenses for Scrolls of Honing. These basically level up specific soul breaks like Awakening, Sinks, and Overstrikes. Record Sapphires you can actually get as well. You need 100 of these in order to get hero abilities, which are abilities specific to characters. You can unlock through their corresponding sphere grid. I wouldn't worry about these too much, but the Soul Break Exchange is definitely something to check out later once you're trying to fill out your party or just use a character that you desire. Aside from the realm dungeons and events, we have the missions. Something else to be aware of as a new player. Let's go ahead and click on Acolyte Archives. The Acolyte Archives are not timed. There's no expiration date. You have as long as you want to complete these. We start off in the Book of Trials 1. If you scroll through, it gives you a description of what you need to do in order to receive the award here on the left. Once you do all the missions for Book of Trials 1, you'll unlock Book of Trials 2. Once you do all of the missions for Book of Trials 2, you'll unlock Book of Trials 3. And we go all the way up to Book of Trials 13. Each time you unlock one, you get tons of rewards. This is the third thing that you should focus on as a new player. Tons of stuff, and you'll unlock them passively just by playing the realms, the dungeons, etc., etc. But if you are ever curious of what is up next, then you can always come here to the missions and check these out. There are more missions here aside from the Book of Trials, but I really wouldn't worry about them just yet. We will get into those in a later video. Let's go ahead and click on Trial Archives here, though. These are all timed. There is an expiration to these. There's one that updates daily, one that updates every week, one that updates every month, aside from others. But like I said, the ones you really want to focus on are these Book of Trials here. Whenever you do complete a mission, it will give you a notification saying, hey, you did this, come collect your loot. You'll just come here, click Collect All, and you're done. Those will be these little exclamation points letting you know that you have something you need to collect. In the Trial Archives, if you have rewards here that you haven't collected by the end of whatever the expiration is, it will be sent to your item chest, so you won't lose them, but you do have 30 days to get them out of your item chest or they're deleted. Something to note that even though these other books are locked, the progress is still tracked, and as soon as you unlock this book, it will actually remember the progress you've already made on these missions and complete them, or at least fill them in with progress that you've already done. So you don't have to worry about starting from ground zero per book. Even if you were up here in Book of Trials 9, if you were to unlock all 4-star higher level record spheres for one hero, this would actually be tracked. Even though you're still on Book of Trials 2, it's still tracking the progress, so don't worry about that. Alright, now it's time to check out the gacha side to Final Fantasy Record Keeper. It is a gacha game, they love your money, and this is where you want to go if you want to spend it. Here we have all the different banners. Most of them have an expiration. They do end at a certain point in which they will refresh with new banners, more to choose from. Let's go ahead and click on this one here. We have different options for this banner. We can draw only one with 5 Mythril or 100 gems. We have Rare Relic draw 3 for 15 Mythril or 900 gems. And we have the Rare Relic draw times 11 for 50 Mythril or 3,000 gems, which is the equivalent of $30, by the way. I don't recommend doing these with real money, but if you have the Mythril to spare, why not? You can click up here to see what relics they have to offer. They're usually specific to a realm or an element. If I actually wanted to spend my Mythril on this, I would spend it on the one that guarantees a 6-star or higher item, which is the 11 pool. But before you grab your credit card, let me show you something. Let's go ahead and click on this. Most of these are very Mythril friendly. If we look here, we have the Elemental Lucky Relic Draw and the Realm Relic Draw. This banner is specific to certain elements. If you wanted to draw from a pool of fire type soul breaks, then this is where you would click. Ice, lightning, earth, wind, water, holy, dark. Notice here that it's telling us the first time we do this, it's only 15 Mythril. Only 15 Mythril. Let's go and check it out. It's an 11 times draw with a guarantee of a 5-star or higher. Here it tells us 15 Mythril, 900 gems. We also can accumulate these tickets down here, which usually get from login bonuses every 15 days or so. You can even get them from events, missions, etc., etc. If you're interested in what kind of relics can drop here, so here we have the different drop rates. 6 and 7 stars is your bread and butter. That's what makes your party. If you're curious about how the soul breaks and legend materia mechanics work, we'll click on its corresponding icon here. It actually gives you a breakdown of all the different soul breaks. Now, I'm going to come back to this in another video. If you don't feel like clicking through all of this, I will try to be more articulate about it. Realm Relic Draw is the same thing. If we wanted to draw from one of these realms, it only costs 15 Mythril the first time. We also get those little tickets from the daily login bonuses, the completion of missions, different dungeons, etc. And you can see here all the different Final Fantasies. Good stuff, good stuff. I wouldn't worry about chain soul breaks just yet. They are 30 bucks each, and I will cover these later. Full Throttle Relic Draw. This is a one-time only deal. It is gems only. However, it's at a huge discounted price, which is basically $9, $10. But you get the Rare Relic Draw times 11 with a guaranteed 5-star or higher. You also get to choose the Full Throttle bonus set list, which gives you 3 different 6-star equipment, and you can choose which realm you want it from. If you want the set details, just click here. And here we have Lock, Realm, and another one for Lock. $10 isn't bad, but it's still $10, so I'll leave that up to you. If you do want to spend your money, there is the Full Throttle Upgrade item set contents, which on top of getting the 11 draw, on top of getting the set items, you also get a hefty amount of orbs, motes, gil, upgrade equipment, etc., etc. Last thing I wanted to say about the relic draws is you get to do this free relic draw per day, every day, just as it says. But there is an event going on right now till March 16th that when you do this, you actually get 10 relics. It's not, you don't get any guaranteed rares or anything, but it is 10 draws aside from the daily one. There are some auto sell settings. After you've done several draws, you'll start to get a little loaded down with, you know, a lot of 4-star, 3-star equipment that you don't want to keep, so you can automatically sell them or trade them in for rainbow crystals, which is used to upgrade artifacts. We'll get into that later, don't worry. Let's go ahead and go back to item exchanges. We've already covered the record lab. Let's go to the Hall of Rites. Here we have Soul of a Hero, which anytime you accumulate one of these items, you can exchange them for any character that you want. It will list all the characters. Just choose a character, and they're yours. Memory Crystal Loads, 1, 2, and 3. These are used for breaking level caps. There are 3 in total. The first is 1 to 50. The second is 50 to 65. And the third is 65 to 80. Now, once you've used this Memory Crystal 3 load on a character, they can level up to 99. Now, you do have to do these in order, so you can't just skip straight to Memory Crystal 3 load. You have to go Memory Crystal load, Memory Crystal 2 load, and then Memory Crystal 3 load, and level them up accordingly. This is where we can exchange Gysahl Greens. We have 2 tabs here. We've got the normal items, which are exchanged for higher rates, orbs, upgrade materials, growth eggs, and other. Here we have the special tab, where everything is at a discounted rate. These all refresh ever so often. They do expire. You can only buy 1 per week or 1 per month, whatever. Mythril, stamina potions, crystal water, arcana, crystals, orbs, motes, you name it. There's tons of stuff here. There's actually 2 ways to accumulate Gysahl Greens. One is whenever anyone uses your roaming warrior, you'll accumulate a specific amount of Gysahl Greens. The second way is to do these power-up dungeons once you have them unlocked. You can do these Shores of Wisdom for experience and growth eggs and Gysahl Greens. Now, normally this is the only one that would drop Gysahl Greens, but there is an event going on right now that nets you Gysahl Greens for doing any of them. So, take advantage. Here we have Kite's Treasure Trove. This is more of a trading depot. For instance, here we can trade 10 3-star motes for a 4-star mote. And there's several different exchanges here, much the same. Let's click on Special here. These are usually controlled by certain events that are happening at the now. Here we have different accessories for different realms. The Artifact Acropolis. This is the home of the artifacts, which is very powerful weapons that are specific to elements or realms. We need artifact stones in order to obtain them. We'll worry about that later. Last but not least, we have the Royal Crucible. We can exchange record rubies for ability records. These are your 6-star abilities, very powerful abilities that you can equip and utilize on your characters. Good stuff. There is a lot to unpack here. If you need to rewatch anything, be sure to check out the timestamps again. But I promise, once you play for a few days, it's really not that bad at all. I'm going to be doing more videos, some 101 stuff, some more in-depth strategy. So don't worry, if something in this video didn't cover whatever you were looking for, it will in a future video, I promise. If you do have any questions or concerns, or just some ideas for some future videos, something you might want to see, just be sure to comment below. Congratulations, you now know more things, probably. All right, video's over. Bye!